everybody. So good that everybody's here today. Should be a really good session today. This is the Brink SBDC workshop on innovation to differentiate standing out in competitive markets. And typically we're talking about, usually I'm usually talking about investor relations and things like that. But today I really wanted to focus in on how do you stand out in a competitive market? And at times I will be talking about how do you translate that to an investor. So that is the workshop for today. I just want to say it again. Innovation to differentiate standing out in competitive markets. So I'm Dr. Sylvia Ma, and welcome to our session today. Very excited to have you on board. It will be interactive at the very beginning, then a couple of slides of talking, and then going back to a little bit of interactive. I can't do any workshop without being interactive and some jazz playing. So without further ado, I am going to start sharing my screen. And if you have questions or anything like that, put in the chat. I'm going to have a couple of times that you can interact with the chat. Because this is being recorded, I usually do repeat what's in the chat so that everybody is in awareness of what is kind of being done on the back end. So let me share right now my screen. And who am I a little bit? I did not do that at first either. Is that I'm Dr. Sylvia Ma, and I have started a couple of accelerators over the years, the last like 15 years, and I've done a lot of commercialization of university discoveries. I help entrepreneurs go from an idea to launch and launch to scale, and then also exit at the very end. So these are the types of topics that I actually love to talk about, even though it's a little bit more smushy, a little bit more, customer retention, customers loving your products. How do you make a better team? How do you have the team be more attracted to the company? How do you do all of that to be able to stand out? So that you're going to get a little bit of that kind of bias on my end of seeking a lot of strategic support on how do you get your customers to love you and love the product. We're in the month of February right now, in the month of love. And any month is good to have that, but really thinking about that, I'm going to give you some aspects of going deeper into tactical executable pieces, especially right now it's 2025. This might live on longer than 2025. So the trends right now that we're going to be talking about now are trending right now in 2025. Might still be around in the next year or so, but just wanted to know that it is very much right now, what's going on right now with small businesses and startups. So one thing is really trying to unlock the power of differentiation. So a lot of entrepreneurs say, okay, my thing is great. My product is amazing. I have customers that love it, or my customers will love it. And sometimes it's hard to say, okay, what do I actually do? What's the focus that I have? And the more that you focus, the more customers will love you. I know that's kind of like a little bit of dissonance, right? It's like if I go deeper and more focused, I'm not going to go to so many customers, but actually you're going to reach the right customers that love your product. So sometimes people have a hard time with it. So I want to break it down into two things. Basically, your unique selling proposition. Everybody has something special to offer to that special customer, and identifying what makes you stand out and focus your marketing on that will allow you to reach those customers, and those customers buy from you more. A lot of entrepreneurs have, let's say, the innovator's dilemma. My new toothbrush that I just created is the best thing since sliced bread, and I use it and all my friends use it. Do you see how that's a problem a little bit there? It's like, well, what about the thousands of people that are outside of your friend group? Not that they are not going to use it, but you got to think about what is that unique selling proposition that all customers that you're going after will buy from you and love your product. Secondly is embracing innovation and not being afraid of experimenting with new ideas. What have you heard? It's like, you go and you don't pivot, or have you heard please pivot to get the right product in place? So you can go from minimal viable product, that's an MVP, to your prototype, and then to go on if you have a product, and even if you have a service out there, right? Is how do I test a couple of new ideas in my core offering? What about a new customer segment? Just I'm giving you the allowance to embrace innovation and don't be afraid to experiment. Now, sometimes people experiment too much. They go down a pivot and then they're pivoting away from their core unique selling proposition. So that's why I put these two on the same slide, is that you have this unique selling proposition that's tried and true. You're trying to get more and more and more and more and more in focus, but I'm also letting you know with that, embrace that innovation, open up and be experimental. Now, with that opening up, one thing that I recommend is that maybe do some A/B testing, which means that A and B testing, right? It's like, I'm going to try this and I'm going to try this that are similar, but a little bit different, and see how people are attracted to each one of them, right? And say, okay, my customers are more attracted to B, and I'll kind of go into how you can do that. And then say, okay, now I can take that product and go farther. I'm going to be more differentiated in this marketplace. And then you can pivot around that B and experiment a little bit more with B1 and B2, right? So think about that you're going to be tailored uniquely. You're going to experiment, tiny experiments, but ones that you can pivot a little bit and say, okay, I'm going to learn from that and pivot a little bit more to be even more focused. So let me just define what it means to take the A/B testing and try something. So let's say you are on your website, right? And you're saying, you know what, nobody's landing on this website, or I'm seeing from my Google Analytics that people always land on this part of my website and they don't go any further. Well, you could do A/B testing with saying, okay, I'm going to change the look of that page that when people land on it, and change it a little bit and get the Google Analytics to see, okay, well, let's say you change it from being a red page to being a yellow page. I'm doing it very simple examples, okay? And some people don't even have a web page. I know, like life sciences, right? But bear with me, right? And you're seeing that a lot more people land on the red page. Interesting. Okay, so my next A/B test is it the red color? Or is it something else? Is it like the image that I changed? Or is it that they like the red because it stands out more and I'm clicking something because it's a red dot? Or is it the whole page that you created? So you can go and test that more and go even deeper. So before we even actually do all of that, I wanted to also let us kind of sit in this value proposition framework. I like this one that's all written out. It's very lean methodology. We teach a lean essential sprint class here at the Brink SBDC that we actually go through this quite a bit. And I want everybody on the line right now and who is watching the video is, I want you to be able to write this out on a white piece of paper. If you know, anytime that I am always teaching, I'm like, get out that white piece of paper and write it out. Even if you're a small business already and you know this really well, I want you to write it out. If you're starting off with an idea, I want you to write this out with the customers that you want to attract. So the framework is for the target customer, segment or persona, depending on who you think you can really write this out for, who has a problem or need. So what is their main problem or the need that they have? Our product or service is, and then describe that product, describe the product or solution, categorizing it generally and not differentiation, right? It's more of like, what is that product, and categorize it. Then the next line is that provides a primary benefit to the customer, solution or capability. Next line is unlike the reference competition, real alternative to your business. It could be somebody who's completely in competition to you or another competitor. And our product and our solution, sorry about that, I need to move something really quick. Here we go. Unlike that provides a certain benefit to the customer. Unlike the referred competition, our product and solution does this, the state primary differentiation, key point of competition and differentiation. So with that, I wanted, I'll give you about 2 or 3 minutes to go through that. You can kind of zone me out a little bit if you have not seen this value proposition or you're really, really early. So when I talk about pains and needs and all of that from your customer, typically you want to think about this value proposition canvas. Again, if you're really early, listen to me. If you're a little bit later, you might want to revisit this. This is found on Strategizer online. You can find it. It's really great. It's a great resource. But this is the value proposition canvas that allows you to kind of write out that whole statement. So you'll see on the right-hand side is what are the pains of the customer? What are their gains in the certain scenario that you're looking at? And what are their customer jobs, right? What are they doing? How are they doing it? What are the jobs that they have? Sorry. And then on the other side is your company and the square. And this goes into the BMC, the business model canvas. We're not going to go after that today. But what are your products and services? What are your pain relievers? And what are your gain creators of your product that fit those pains, right? And the needs and the gains that they're going to have as a customer. So if this is the first time you're seeing it, there's a whole course about this available online. You can go into it. But if you have seen that, think about what are that customer pains? What are they listening to? What are they struggling with? What are the job that they have right now? And what are you doing for them? So for example, you can have your company is an app that helps with adolescent or teen mental health, right? And so the customer jobs right now for that teen is that they're going to go to one-on-one, let's say therapists, or they're going to like a group therapy at their school. Those are the two customer jobs that they have, but their pains are like, they're not getting what they need. They still feel depressed. They feel alone, separated. Well, your products and services might be collaboration app of some sort with other teens that allows them to talk really openly with other teens that are somehow put onto this platform. I'm being very generic. So the pain reliever is that, wow, we're actually solving that pain for the customer to get connected with other teens that are struggling in the same way. And the gain creators, that they gain community and they gain the validation of who they are, right? And get out of being in a rut of mental health. So that's how that example is. And going back to the positioning statement is, you say for the teen, right, who, right, is struggling with mental health issues, our product, an app that connects teens, provides community, collaboration, and others struggling in the same place, unlike therapists that just do it one-on-one. And our product solution is differentiated because it really meets the teen where they are. Very easy. And this is just a made up company, right? But it's an easy way to do that. So I'll be quiet for a little bit and put on some jazz. And I want you to write this out. Okay, I gave you about a minute. You should have written out something for the value proposition. And this allows you to be, oh, I can't hear the jazz. Oh, I'm sorry, Jesse. I will put it a little bit higher up then. Um, let's see something. Yeah, I did not. Usually whenever I go on mute, then you can't hear it. So thank you, Jesse, for letting me know that. Next time, we'll have another little time that we're working to get, individually. So one thing that I wanted to focus on today is that creating a customer-centric brand, especially these days. 2025 is about experiences, it's about authenticity, building community, and all of that. So I really, really, really wanted to dive into it in the meat and potatoes of this is these next couple of slides. So one is understanding your customer. You want to invest research in deeply understanding your target audience's needs. We talked about that circle and square, right? That's being done by a lot of people who start their businesses. And I know that we have a quite a bit of people here newly starting their businesses and ones that are existing. So I'm trying to capture all of you all. I'm going against my focus recommendation, but bear with me. So investing time and energy into really understanding the needs of that customer. And it's always about seeking feedback from that customer, making sure that you understand maybe some surveys that you send out, some interactions that you have. If you have customers that are giving you reviews, ask them if they want to have a conversation with you. If you're starting off, you should do customer discovery, right? And if you are B2B or life sciences, and maybe you're like, okay, we have a couple of customers in, let's say, a clinic or a hospital or another life science company or a bioinformatics company that you're doing B2B sales with, talk to them, right? Understand that customer B2B or B2C or B2B2C, and understand how your offering is being marketed to them, is being described about the value that you're bringing to them, and make sure that they can actually talk about your value to somebody else, right? The whole traditional word of mouth is still alive and well. So the more that they can really understand what you're doing, and they love the product or service that you give, the more customers you have. So next up is like building lasting connections. Go beyond simply selling a product or service, right? Build unique relationships with the customers that you're providing, exceptional service and personalized experience. So we're going to go between this exceptional service and personalizing pieces, right? Because that is what is trending right now, right? Personalizing it more, but then you're probably thinking in your head right now, but I'm a solopreneur. How do I do that? Oh my goodness, personalization is going to drive me crazy, and I don't know how to do that. So the great thing is that we live in a world of tons of technology. So we can leverage technology to make those personalized experiences occur with our customers, and being able to, as humans, create an incredible deep story to connect with those customers because we know the pain that they have. We know what kind of product or service that we have created as entrepreneurs. That is uniquely you as an entrepreneur. You know why they're doing it, and you need to create those personalized journeys, personalized storytelling of your own that they love. So with that, thinking about customer loyalty. So this, and again, for the B2B people out there, this also resonates with you, right? Want to make sure that everybody feels included and respected in this workshop. So number one is customer delight. So you want to exceed expectations and create memorable moments for your customers. And if that means that in that whole sales cycle of awareness, education, and buying, and then repeat buyers in so many words, right? How do I exceed expectations in the awareness phase? Have I given them enough times to check us out, to be aware of our brand, to be aware of us as founders, be aware of an incredible team, be aware of all of our incredible customers that we have? Have I done enough of that? What about the education piece? Have I really educated them to find out that they really understand this product? And have I made the buying experience super painless, that they're like, yes, I can click a button, or B2B sales, I can easily get a contract ready, or a memo of understanding, or something, LOI, letter of intent, also for the life science people out there. And how do I do a rewarding program, right? A rewards program. So you want to offer exclusive discounts, early access to new products if you're doing, let's say, an app, and personalized offers, right? If like I know some life science companies out there do some, let's say, audits, or they have like a way of looking at their whole entire like tech stack in a different way, so that that customer is like, wow, I really love this. I'm rewarded by this like example of what they're creating, and I can actually talk about it to others. And if you get somebody else involved, then maybe they get a discount of the services that you have or something like that. So just I'm giving you those examples. So now it's another time for some jazz. Jesse, you got to tell me if the jazz can be heard. So I gave you about 20 customer loyalty ways to increase customer loyalty. And what I want, and I'll go through a couple of them because I want to explain a couple of them, but I want you to, on a white piece of paper, that's your second white piece of paper, is what 5 customer loyalty actions do you take right now? And don't beat yourself up about like, I should have, I could have, would have, could have, should have, all of that. What are the things that you do now? And even if you have 0, just write 0, right? Or what have you tried, right? That's important to learn from the failures. And if you have 20 of them, pick the 5 that actually work. Okay. So we're spanning the whole gamut. And then the next one is on that same piece of paper on the back of it, say 5 customer loyalty actions you want to take, right? That you really want to, in this next year, be able to put those, the loyalty actions in full swing. And I would like for some of you to actually write in the chat some of your examples of the top square and the bottom square, what your actions you're taking now, so that we know what's being done right now in small businesses and startups, and also the actions you want to take to hold you accountable. So let me go through a couple of them that I love. So one of the things is, okay, yes, right here. Surprise, the random acts of kindness is what I love, right? Is offer a discount to a customer having a bad day, or go the extra mile to help with a special request. The reason why I picked that one is, and I'm going to give you examples from my own portfolio of companies. I have invested in 160 plus companies, and I've invested in 15 emerging fund managers. I've had 5 exits and 1 IPO. So I've had a lot of examples of things that actually worked. So one of my startups that actually was sold to a vitamin company. What she did with her company, it was a UTI prevention drink mix company called Eucora. And what they did was anybody who's on the call with customer service, if there was a time that they were in the hospital, because a lot of people ended up in the hospital with urinary tract infections, and they felt like they wanted to send their customers flowers, there was always a sludge fund for them to be able to send flowers to customers. Now, that's part of a process that they wanted to create, but it came from the founder saying, look, I've had so many customer calls throughout this discovery of what my needs are for my customers, that people are really in dire need of support. And the flowers mean a lot. And they always had incredible customer feedback, not just because of the flowers, but because of that extra mile that the company took to make sure that those customers are really, really taken care of. Okay, so one thing is personalized follow-up. And that comes from another company that I have invested in, is Dr. Debbie Chen, and that is hydrostasis. And she came out with her first, it was a hydration monitor. It is a hydration monitor. And she came out with a wearable device. And so people pre-purchased, and that's another piece of, let's say, making sure the customer is happy and her investors were happy, is that instead of waiting 10 years to get it to market through like a clinic or something like that, she did a consumer medical device. So really, really a consumer device out there. And she did pre-sales, and the pre-sales went really, really smoothly. And when the product was ready to go, she sent it to her first set of customers that were really excited about receiving it. She had them tiered. And then when she sent the second one, of course, it was, they were very excited. And the follow-up is what was important. She followed up with each and every one of the customers as a founder herself, and made sure that they were happy. How was the experience? Were you able to actually turn it on? Were you able to get great data? I'm seeing the data on my end, right? So that early Adopter really wants to know, is my data being shared? It's not obviously to the whole world, but is it good for the company? So those are two examples that are examples of customer loyalty. That's not your typical like customer loyalty, come and buy from us with discounts and tell your peeps, right? It's thinking about a creative way that you know your customer and what they need and how you can show them either kindness or that you can give them something to be even more loyal customers. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes with some jazz. Hopefully you can hear it, and see if we can have those two things taken care of, what you're doing now and what you want to do. Okay. If anybody can share what they come up with some steps that they've already tried and what they want to, that would be fantastic in the chat. I'll give you one more example of one of my portfolio companies called the Sash Bag. It is a crossbody bag that you can put all of your all your stuff in, and it saves your back, it saves your shoulders, and all of that. And that is the founder is Nicole. So very excited about sharing with her. I would say the building community, online forums and groups. She has a Facebook community and a group on Facebook for, gosh, so many years, but she's super authentic in there. She is on there and she has a couple of different groups. One of them, her VIP group, obviously the ones that buy, like some of them have bought 70 bags from her. Other ones buy their own bag, then they buy for their friends, and some of them just buy one. But what she does is have great conversations there about product and what they want to see. So whenever she wants to have a new color or a new something, she goes on there and says, look, I'm thinking about doing these color schemes. What do you guys think? And then she gets like a whole plethora of people, and that's a co-creation with your customer. So that even takes a whole other level of customer loyalty, because the customer's like, oh my gosh, I'm on this group, this Facebook group, and I'm giving the founder advice of what the next colors should be. wow, I want another purse. I love what she's doing. And if I'm telling her, do silver and it comes out with a silver bag, they're going to be even more loyal and more likely to recommend the brand or the product to their friends. So really, really interesting way. And how she actually activated that into a Kickstarter campaign. She's had 3 Kickstarter campaigns. The third one raised more than $1 million. Is that one of the ways that she got more customers and customer loyalty is creating experiences to go to India to see the factory that the bags are made in. So very exciting that she's able to, have these bags being sold, and through experience and customer loyalty strategies, she's able to, of course, increase her revenue, right? But then also have these customers that absolutely love her company and her authenticity. Okay, thank you, Pratiksha, for sharing. She said, we have tried handwritten notes, surprise gifts, and local partnership discounts. I learned about birthday treats, which we will add from now on. Also can start online forums. So those are great pieces. So what I hear from you is that, your customers love the surprises. They love the gifts, the giveaways, and all of that. And I'm gonna give you some examples too, like B2C sales. Obviously, that's easy, right? Nothing in entrepreneurship is easy. So you can send a handwritten note to your customers. If you've ever bought from, let's say, a small business owner, sometimes there's handwritten notes in what you get, a little card or something, and it's handwritten. I absolutely love getting them. I'm like, this is why I buy from them, because I have this thing and it's Instagrammable. Dun, 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 right? So how do you differentiate yourself? How do you stand out from your competition? If you do just that simple thing every single time you send something to somebody and they get that and they take a picture, their whole network is going to know that what that company is and what the product is. So that's like genius, right? And then I love the local partnerships. We're going to go into some of the geo location pieces next. Is that local partnerships? A lot in 2025 is, how do you go local? How do you support local businesses? And if you're already doing it, why not talk about it? Say, you know what, we're partnering up with X competitor, sometimes X partner that is a service provider for our product, and we're going to do something. Let's say you have a new mascara, right? And you're going to have a partnership with an esthetician to have these experiences, right? And what I see about that example is that actually can be done in any esthetician's site across the nation. So I'm always thinking scale. Sorry, I'm an investor, right? I'm not sorry, but still the scalability of an experience, but also local is just as beautiful. Love that you say you learned about birthday treats, even something that just know somebody's birthday, and that goes to B2B sales as well. What about if you're a life science company and you're trying to win a B2B sale with, let's say, J&J Labs? I know it's a huge um, entity, but what about if you remember somebody's birthday, or you remember that, I don't know, something else about their life, and you just reach out to them and say, hey, you know what? Remember that was your birthday. Happy birthday. I hope you're having a great time. Do you think that person's going to think about you a little bit more when they're thinking about who to partner up with, who to have a contract with, who to write a letter of intent with? I can guarantee you they're going to think about it just a tiny bit more. And that might be the only piece or one of the pieces of the competitive advantage. So just saying, great. Thank you for sharing so much, Pratiksha. I always take anybody who wants to share and I blow it up to give you more examples. Oh, wonderful. We have more. Wonderful. We help people prevent heart attacks and avoid heart surgeries without unnecessary meds. And that's definitely a heart-centered piece. And I can just see the marketing of customer delight and customer loyalty around that. So I want to go into a couple of more pieces of just talking about customers. So problem solving with customer value in mind is that one of the things is the customer need. We've talked about that a little bit, but really start to understand the challenges your customer faces, and sometimes reaching back out and asking them, because things might change, right? Of course, COVID changed the world, but what about economic uncertainty? or something that comes up that you know your customers are very affected by, reaching out and saying, okay, what are your new challenges? What's going on? How can I support you? That's going to make them be stronger customers for you. Number two is innovative solutions. Develop creative solutions that directly address those needs, offering intangible benefits and creating value. Some of the times, let's say like the example of the app that I gave earlier for mental health, right? Tried and true ways before is one-on-one support from therapists, and maybe it was a great, like email marketing campaign that people were doing, or because we know community is super important to the younger generation, and maybe giving back to their communities or doing a sustainable something, you want to incorporate sustainability or like a nature walk or community into those innovative solutions that you have. So just be as creative as possible based on that customer need, and ask them, do you want to see this? That's a co-creation with customers. They're going to be even more loyal. And customer success is focused on delivering outcomes that exceed expectations, leading to satisfied customers and increased loyalty. So I always say the most valuable currency for investors to startups and startups to their customers along that value chain is trust. Is so, so important. Okay, this is one of my favorite slides. So this is one that I really wanted to give you some 2025 tips of thinking outside of the box, embracing emerging trends. So I picked three, and we are also going to go definitely AI. So the first one is social media. We know social media is super powerful. Digital marketing in AI, and then e-commerce. So with social media, let's go up to the top, is leverage the social media platforms to connect with your audience, build a community, and share valuable content. But the two trends that are happening right now in 2025 is short form video. This isn't just a trend anymore, period, right? It's a dominant force. So platforms like TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts are really getting high in that for customers to actually interact with brands. So short form video content, giving it greater visibility. And what's great is those platforms are also pushing those short form videos. So if you are on that like trend of getting those short form videos up and going for your brand, the algorithm will love you instead of long form, right? But if you're a long form person and you're like, I want to do long form, you can do long form and use technology like AI to cut it up. Right. So for me, I'm an entrepreneur and an investor. So my entrepreneurship piece is podcasting and investor relations and investor education. So my podcast, I'm trying to relaunch. I'm trying, I'm trying. Hold me accountable. And so I know that there now, 2 years after I stopped my podcast, there's a ton of AI technology that I am pausing and learning so that I can do the long form that I'm used to, right? But I know that the trend is short form. So I need to find some tech solutions, and I've found them, to cut it up, right? To make sure that I am using the platforms that are out there that are my customers are using, right? To be able to interact with them in their way. So even though I love long form, I need to look at my customer and make sure that I'm meeting them where they are. Number two trend is community building. We talked about the sash bag. So social media is becoming less about broadcasting and more about fostering genuine connections, like the behind the scenes pieces of saying, this is how it is short form, remember? Is behind the scenes community building of what I'm doing with partners. We talk, one of the chats was where you're partnering with local entities in your company and having that fostering of that genuine connection with partners, and then building community with your customers, not just a one-way street. Digital marketing, explore digital marketing channels like SEO, email marketing, and paid advertising to reach new customers. I know that's like, okay, that was like 10 years ago. However, right, using AI-powered personalization is the key. So yes, we know SEO works. We know that email marketing works. And I've seen also with all the organizations and companies that I'm working with on a daily basis, email marketing is not going away. But the stagnant email marketing is what those like open rates are going down, down, down. But the ones that have interactive pieces like AI-powered personalization of any sort is what's going to make you stand out. So get platforms and solutions that enhance dynamic content, right? Predictive sending. So if you can create any type of sending or email traction would be fantastic, and automated segmentation. So we do that in MailChimp pretty easily, and other platforms do that as well. Then the second trend on this digital marketing piece is search everywhere optimization. So you really want to think about focusing on social searches. Search is no longer confined to Google. Just have to think about that, right? Customers are using social media, TikTok, IG, Instagram, and LinkedIn. LinkedIn also has LinkedIn Shorts as well. So as search engines to discover products, services, and information, even B2B peoples, right? Not just B2C. B2B as well. So if you can make sure that you are looking at not just Google searching, but social searches so that you can be in front of your customers at the right time with authenticity and growing a community of people that are following you for the right information, discovering your products, discovering other people that are doing services around those products. You see how that's like a more well-rounded journey for the customer. And thirdly is e-commerce. So consider building an online store to expand your research and cater to customers who prefer to shop digitally. So again, this is a lot more B2C, not necessarily B2B, but the B2B players out there think about a very well done website that people can find information about, right? So one of them, the two trends, and I'm sorry that had that, they don't have that bolded: personalized shopping journeys or personalized journeys, experiential journeys, and then immersing shopping experiences. So one thing, and I've kind of talked about this already, is storytelling and uniqueness. So one of my portfolio companies, they are a B2C company that sells what's it called? When you are putting your hands and getting them without any grossness on them. So the company's called ESAS, ESAS, and they have perfumes and candles and all of that. They're actually they are chemical engineers that decided that they wanted to make a sustainable solution for the value chain and in this like fragrance industry. And they came up obviously with these products. But what they found was that whenever they talked about their own journey as chemical engineering, they're two women, their open rate for their emails went sky high. And they're like, we're talking about ourselves. We can't do that. That's kind of like, we don't want to do that. We want to sell product. We want to show them how awesome our products are. But so they realized that this like shopping journey of like them going through their journey and how customers go through the journey of finding more about their products, that's that beautiful intersection. And they're having an increase in revenue because of that. Very, very interesting. And that's what people want to see. And then also immersive shopping experiences, blur the lines between online and offline shopping experiences. So think augmented reality and virtual reality to technologies that allow customers to try on clothing virtually or visualize furniture in their home, or even take a virtual tour of your store or your office, right? So let's say for life sciences out there, not that you're going to show them like IP protected things that you're building, right? Or assays that you have, but you could do a very interactive like tour of your lab that doesn't show anything that you don't want to show, and you send that to a customer, a B2B customer, and that's just going to have you stand out from the competition, right? I'm not saying that you're trying to be like trendy and like all this stuff, but you are, right? And that's what we're talking about today, is making sure that you're standing out above the competition, because what they're getting on their side is a one pager, right? Of information of like, I do this, my drug does this, my things do this, and you need to buy from me because I'm going to decrease costs and I'm going to increase your efficiency. How many times have we heard that? Multiple times, right? But can you send them a video of a virtual reality tour of your lab where they see 2 or 3 people working in the lab and seeing how clean it is, how like smiley people are, not like unauthentic, like real scientists. They know when you see a real scientist and when you get an actor. Trust me, as a biochemist, we know, right? And show them that and have them be immersed in that. They're like, wow, I want to be involved with this company because they're like legit, they're quality, and we want to have a conversation with them. That's all you need, the foot in the door. So just wanted again to give you those pieces. So I have a couple of more slides here is data. So we know about experiences. We know we want to have customers love us, but we want to get to that, like the quintessential 100% customer satisfaction. And the only way we know that is to track those customers and through surveys and feedback mechanisms that they're going to fill out. So some people are like, oh, they're not giving me enough feedback on my customers. I don't know this information. Well, are you asking them in the right way? Do you actually need to sit down and talk to them? Do you need to send them another survey? Probably not. Do you need them to actually like go through an Instagram like story piece of click here, click here, click here, tell me how I'm doing? Could be a possibility. So think out of the box to find that customer satisfaction information. And of course, revenue growth. We want to really have an increase in revenue. And the only way to do that is to monitor your sales and revenues as you're going through. A lot of entrepreneurs that I meet, they're like, oh, I know I want to hit a target at the end of the year of this. I'm like, what are your monthly sales? I don't know. Or like 3 months later, well, you need to be more quick on saying, this is my revenue for the month. I'm going to pilot these customer retention or customer acquisition pieces in the next month, and then test and make sure that I do have a revenue growth at all. So next up is storytelling. So I want to make sure the chat doesn't have anything here. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So the power of storytelling to connect with your audience, and we've kind of gone through this already, but authenticity is share your story of passion and authenticity. As you stand out, right, as unique founders, unique startups that are doing really interesting things. That's what people want to hear from you. And also customer impact. So showcase how your products or services make a difference in people's lives. Sometimes we're like, oh, that's too much. But I think that, and especially nowadays, people want to buy from an authentic brand that customers love and they can talk about it. It's easier for you if somebody shows you a video, 2-minute video, and you're like, wow, I totally get it. Or they show you a one pager or something that is an image. Could you talk to your friend about that? Right? You'll probably talk to your friend about the video that you saw about a customer that has a life-changing or transformational something based on the product that you're selling. So don't forget the power of storytelling. And if you're not good at storytelling, then you know what, mate, I've seen whenever somebody does not have a lot of like funding to actually do that, is to meet up with another entrepreneur and talk about the stories that you're listening to and hearing from your customers, because then you're going to get that validation. Oh my gosh, that was awesome. I didn't even know that. That's incredible. That story, you needed to say it. Then you can kind of say, okay, that one resonated with another entrepreneur, and I'm going to write it up in a blog, in a LinkedIn article, in something, and you'll see that something takes off. For let's say for me, for example, I'm always on LinkedIn, and there are some topics that I don't know, like what is the story tell? Should I put it into a blog? Should I put it in my newsletter? Is it something newsworthy? What is it? I sometimes put it out in a post saying, what do you think? Or like I post a picture to see like, these are the themes that I'm talking about. And like, if nobody comments, nobody reshares, I'm like, okay, that was just a post and I'm not going to do it again. Or if somebody's like really connecting and I have lots of comments and all that, that might become a great blog post or a great LinkedIn article. So you can really test little things like that to know that your storytelling is being done, that that it's a good story. Building a strong online presence is super important. So we all know that, right? But think about the website optimization. We've also already talked about the search engines, that they're not just Google, it's all social searches that we need to think about. And mobile friendly is going to be even more and more and more important because everybody's on their phone with social media. Social media marketing is respond to customer inquiries. You can also create communities on on Instagram to make sure that they feel like they're part of your brand. And then of course, content marketing, making sure that we look at different infographics? How do you talk about it differently? And that's how you're going to stand out and innovate. So I love community building. So one of the things that came up also is local groups. So engage with local groups, participate in events, sponsor local initiatives, network with other businesses. That is not going away, especially post-COVID. A lot of people want to connect with people. I'm seeing a lot more meetups happening. I'm seeing a lot more in-person events that are smaller, not the huge events that like we had right after COVID kind of was okay. You saw these ginormous events happen. Now it's like, no, I don't need that stuff. I don't want that kind of stuff. I want the really unique, curated networking or business events or experiences that are going to motivate me to buy or motivate me to transcend or to motivate me to do something. I'm seeing a lot more of that. So think about that. Foster customer engagement, encourage customers to review, host online content, contests. All of those things are building that community. And don't forget about empowering employee advocacy, right? You maybe have a team. Some of you guys are solopreneurs, I get it, but you have advisors and mentors that can be your, let's say, employee advocacy piece. And having them be part of this brand ambassador piece is super, super important because they love what you do as team members, as advisors and mentors. Empower them to do the job that you don't have, let's say, a team for, right? So give them a little marketing like folder on Google Drive that has some images in there, a story, a blog, so they can pick and choose what they can share. And oh yeah, this I wanted to talk about this. Well, how much more time? I have 6 more minutes. This did not come out as I wanted it to come out, but number one is automation. So if you're doing customer service, the AI chatbots are really, really easy to start up, and you might be having a lot of emails come in to your email and you're doing customer service, and you should be able to kind of research what would be the best AI chatbot that you can have on your website. Secondly is cybersecurity investments. So as small businesses, you're going to be relying more on technology, and you are going to become more and more increasingly vulnerable to cyber attacks. So if you can have your small business be able to know what that might be coming through, allowing your team and your employees, if you have employees, know how to do like two-party authentication, and all of that, that's going to be really, really important. So take the time to think about that. And then I wanted to focus on hyper local marketing, as we had something in the chat saying that they're doing some partnership collaborations. So there are a lot of people that have online presence and it's very important, but focusing on your local community is crucial for small business. And then think about geolocation and targeted ads. Can we do some targeted ads, targeted location-based marketing that allows people to be like, oh, I can show up here, I can show up there, or I can come together in, even if you're like in life science or tech, can you do like a tech meetup and you all get together and you have a tech meetup about whatever you want to do, AI or any kind of technology, and see like, how do I get in front of my customers even more? So, and the other thing that I try to give you something that was like super easy to do like tomorrow is claim and optimize your Google My Business profile. So that's a really, really easy thing to do. And if you haven't done that yet, go do it. And that's going to be able to have people search for your business and be able to interact with you and learn more about your branding. And that's how you're going to have that competitive advantage, be in your, let's say, tech stack. Okay. So I think this is one of my last ones. I think so. Yes. Two last ones is investing in your team. We've talked a little bit about employee development and employee advocacy. So want to make sure that you're training and mentoring your team. And if you don't have a team, think about those mentors and advisors. And then the activities that you want to do. So your team building activities is so, so, so important. They become your customers, right? So think about that, about really building that into a growing company. And then lastly is a sustainability, a growing trend in business. So the trend right now is, especially in the younger generation, is reducing environmental footprint, eco-friendly practices, all those things. And some, I have found that a lot of the entrepreneurs that do it, they're like, oh, that's just part of it. They don't talk about it. Right. So again, we're talking about innovation. We're talking about how do I stand out? Sometimes you're doing this already, but you're not talking about it. So that's something that is really, really important. And secondly is the integration of tech. So you can make sure that you're doing sustainable methods of, let's say, reducing paper printing, and you're doing everything by email, whatever that means. Or like you're saying, everybody can stay home on Fridays because we don't want to, hurt the environment more, whatever that is. And it might be silly or like small to you, but it might make a customer buy from you, and it might have you be seen differently than your competitors. So just think about that sustainability in the tech piece, the integration of the tech piece that you might be able to do tomorrow or in the next week, and then environmental practices, and be able to story tell that a little bit more. So yeah, so that is all that I have for today. And we're 2 minutes away from the end of our time together. Hopefully this was great for you to have some sort of, practical pieces of like, what are you going to do next? Some strategic pieces of saying, okay, strategically, I need to think about things a little bit differently to stand out. And then on top of that is the trends that are happening right now. So the trends are more authenticity, more community, more genuine. I always say that co-creation is super important with your customers. So the more that you can be in front of them, understand them, and build towards them, and give them a product that they need, and would be a lot better than, let's say, having something that just go one way to that customer and say, buy for me. So thank you for joining us today. This has been really exciting, learning a little bit more about what you're doing as well in the chat. So thanks for joining.